When will the day come when Black women will stop being overly obsessive and harsh on other Black women's hair, especially their natural hair? The amount of criticism Black women receive for their hair choices, specifically pertaining to how their natural hair is by other Black women, is absolutely insane. Black women are truly the biggest fans and critics towards other Black women when it comes to natural hair. If you've watched my other videos, you probably have noticed that I am an advocate for Black women wearing their natural hair and or at least embracing their natural hair texture, if that happens to be in the form of clip-in extensions, weaves, wigs, and so on. I also include straight hair naturals as part of what I deem as natural because they are still displaying their own natural hair, just not in their natural form. And I think it's a better option compared to wearing someone else's straight hair. If you don't know already, the 2024 Olympics are ongoing, and one of the greatest gymnasts in the world, Simone Biles, has been participating as part of the United States gymnastics team. And so far, I think she's won 7 medals, I think, so far in the Olympics, which is amazing. And of course, she has fantastic athleticism, and she is a dark-skinned, unambiguous Black woman, which is a cherry on top for our dark-skinned Black women unambiguous representation. Despite all her great achievements, her hair always becomes the topic of discussion. And I've seen so many Black people, mostly Black women, unfortunately, who constantly nitpick how she styles her hair at the Olympic Games. However, this isn't just at the Olympic Games that this has happened. The nitpicking has happened many times before, like when she released her wedding photos, and the main topic discussed by Black people was about her edges not being laid. Yes, she keeps her hair straight. She doesn't really do her edges from what I've seen. And some people do consider her not being natural because her hair is straight. And that's completely your prerogative. But I don't think it should be that big of a deal compared to what she is currently representing. She is an athlete. The same instances happen with other dark-skinned Black women, like Serena Williams, another one of the best athletes in the world, tennis player, where she has won so many tennis tournaments, yet her achievements often get reduced to how well kept her hair is. And Black people have been clowning her wigs and makeup for a long time, even if she's made world history. And there are times that the makeup and the hair could have been a bit better, but to go to the extent that some people go to a point that they're harassing the woman in her comments, it's just too much. Even when she told the world that she nearly died from giving birth and she had to basically take a break from playing tennis, people were still talking about her hair. Black men especially gave her a hard time. I think one of the main reasons they went hard on her is because she ended up marrying the Reddit CEO, Alexis Ohanian, who happens to be a white man. And because we know many Black people are very featurist as well as colorist, they did bash her facial features quite a bit. So there's that. Same thing happened with the successful award-winning actress Viola Davis, who often wears her natural hair in an afro to the red carpet events, and she gets the same type of backlash from other Black women saying, why is she wearing an afro? Her hair looks unkept. She should do something else when she's going to these type of events. And I often wonder if the people constantly nitpicking at them know that these beautiful Black women who have accomplished so many amazing things and probably will accomplish or have accomplished more than their critics will ever achieve. Do they actually ever think about that? That they are not in the position to be criticizing these women? Do they realize that they are some of the best athletes in the world in the current century? And not just athletes, but Black women athletes at that, and black actresses who are already a minority. Do they get that or not? If they get that, why the heck is their hair the first thing that they want to talk about? They don't want to talk about the discipline and the mental and physical stress and strength it takes to get to the places that these women have gotten to. They don't want to acknowledge their wins and accomplishments, but only care about them faking their baby hairs despite being well above the age where most people don't even have baby hairs anymore across all races. And aside from that, when you think about it, if you are constantly doing backflips, front flips, twirls, running on the pitch, and so on, the last thing on your mind is going to be how well kept your hair is. It's going to get messy by default. It's literally common sense. And I think one of the reasons why this discourse is so prevalent amongst black people, especially black women, is because of how black women's hair have been policed for ages by non-black people specifically. And in this case, white people, historically speaking. In America, for instance, there was a point in time where black women were banned from showing their natural hair. And throughout the time, there has been a heavy emphasis on manipulating your hair as a way to assimilate into Western society to be accepted and avoid the scrutiny that comes along with looking like your authentic self. Colonialism in Africa had the same effects too on black people. This notion that in order to be accepted into Western society or white society is only achieved through looking as far away as possible from your natural self has seeped into the brains of many black people, which is a very sad state of affairs. White people's approval is their green light to know that they look presentable enough. And to them, and to some black women and black people in general, having their hair done is having their edges laid and a lace frontal wig installed. And I can guarantee, had Simone worn a laid frontal wig, she wouldn't have received the same amount of backlash that she receives now about her hair. But this leads me to ask, if it's that important, someone please tell me, anyone, tell me how many gold medals you can win from having your edges laid and having a bust down middle part, 26 inches Cambodian lace frontal wig. Like, someone tell me, please tell me how many gold medals I can win, because I want to know. This behavior has to stop and it needs to be called out because it puts unnecessary pressure on black women to look perfect all the time. And that state of perfection doesn't even resemble us in the first place. It's so far away from what we look like from our authentic selves. And that is why I say we need to create our own beauty standards, standards that actually are achievable and attainable and actually resemble us. There is a level of familiarity that we have as black women where we feel entitled to other black women's hair and what they do with it. Part of that, I think, comes from the genuine desire for black women to look their best. And the other part, I think it's a way to shame black women for not meeting whatever internalized standard that the person has, which does a lot of harm, especially towards young little black girls. And people need to be mindful of that. This type of behavior breeds other unpleasant behaviors like jealousy, envy, low self-esteem, low confidence, self-confidence amongst women, which in turn puts you and other women at a disadvantage. So what do you all think about the pressure that black women put on other black women for having their hair done? Is it toxic? Is it normal? Or are they just looking out for them? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.